tight budgets, your software is going to have to take people out of it as much as it possibly can, and it's going to have to build in those checks and balances because there's not going to be people to share all those duties with in many cases. How many of you ever heard of the enforced vacation policy? Yes, sir. Good. Smart companies will require key employees, employees sitting on critical assets like that, to actually take a vacation. And while they're gone, if they have the resources again, they will do a complete review of the records and the files of that particular individual, just to make sure that that they've got a second set of eyes on that. And I'm thinking, well, in today's economic times, companies are laying off people. Companies are getting acquired. There is fear. There's disruption. All this is out there, and IT people are affected just like anybody else. But it's not just IT people that can stick a thumb drive in a computer and offload data. Just about anybody can do that if you don't have port control on that. So you wonder how a situation should be handled. I mean, it's almost brutal. I've seen people when they retire or when they get laid off, an HR person and an IT person shows up at their desk. A lot of times they don't even know it. Give me your tokens, give me your keys, you're cut off from all contact, here's the door. Take their files and leave them out. And you know, it's nothing personal, but it sure feels personal when you have to operate like that. But unfortunately, that's what we've come to in many cases. Just a variety of perspectives of people that are involved in the software development. I think this takes and just shows some of the things that are considered in there. Our organizational stakeholders, the business, we say, versus the information technology. As CIO, I mean, my biggest job was making sure that the business people could talk to the developers, to the IT people, and take the time to explain what it really was that they wanted. Because 99 times out of 100, the business people will come to the IT department, the application shop, and, well, we've got legacy systems we want to modernize. Well, what do you want to modernize? Well, I got 100 little financial systems. I want one financial system. Well, how are you going to do finances? Just the way we did it the last 25 years. Worked good then, works good now. Not necessarily true. So you're then put in a position of programming something that is an antiquated practice that comes out not exactly the way they wanted. Who gets the blame for it? Faulty software. You know, you paved the cow path, and instead of re-engineering the business process to make it more efficient, you don't get the return from the software that was really expected. And there are all sorts of development models, as everybody knows. The old waterfalls or spirals, the agiles, the reds. There's all sorts of different ways that require different techniques, particularly when you're adding security to that. Growth of the internet, well, that's an understatement. It's estimated that 50% of the threats in the security world at this point stem from the internet. And just practically everything that I'm aware of, particularly the big business, I mean, their business is all done out there on the web. And now we add on top of that, we've got Web 2. People love to collaborate. They're going to do it. People are creative. And a lot of times they do things that are outside of your accepted architecture. And we can't take that away from them. I mean, that is the growth. That's why we have connectivity. That's why people rely on high degree of connectivity. That's why they demand high bandwidth so they can load lots of stuff. We are accustomed to being an information sharing society. We want our stuff out there. It's availability. That's part of our job. Protecting it while making it available is the tricky part. When I first started in interior as CIO, half of the, and interior, by the way, has the Park Service, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Park Service, Fish and Wildlife, USGS, the Geological Survey, a lot of really fascinating groups. Half of them had firewalls, the other half had nothing. They put, and this is only like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So they put, whoa, they put up everything. My biggest problems were the scientists, the researchers. They left to put the papers out. They had to communicate with Russian scientists. They wanted unfettered access to the internet, and that's a quote from a guy that I had tried to put some controls on. And the connectivity, they want it fast. They're not quite as impatient as my wife, but it's close. I built her a real nice computer. It's really, really fast, but it's only as fast as the server will feed it. And she likes to run several things at once. She'll punch a button, and while the little hourglass is up there, if it goes past a couple of seconds, she's tapping another button. And she'll have 3 taps before the hourglass gets a chance to give her what she wants. And she's only downloading a 50 meg file, of course. And then wonders why her software is locked up and the computer's out. Patience. We've come to depend upon it. So we have to build security into the architectures and into the applications at the very earliest stage. We're all plagued with legacy systems, so we know we have to do what we can to make those internal applications as safe as we can. Some of them cannot have or cannot stand good, strong security measures, so we band-aid those with application firewalls and other devices. We just basically encapsulate them. But we all are going through a phase of what we call modernization, and it's taking these old legacy systems and bringing them into more modern operations, hopefully re-engineered, going through basic sound processes for producing that software. But if you don't put your security in on the front end, it's estimated that a bolt-on is 30 to 100 times more expensive than if you do it right the first time. Look at it like this. We approach it from a life cycle approach. If you're thinking about security at the conceptual stage, when that idea first comes up, we're going to build a system. You describe what the system is going to do, you start collecting requirements. You get over to design. Next thing you know, you've got a project. Now, what happens when you get a project? When you get a project, you get a project manager. Project manager has a charge. He has a budget. That budget is locked down. His schedule is rigid. And he pushes a button on his project management software that says baseline. And from that point, everything's measured against the baseline. Now, here comes the security guy. And you know, did you put this particular security module into the software? We need to build that in. How often do they listen to you? Do they get lip service? Do they push they close the door and I don't work for you, buddy? You're too late. You should have been here last month.